Us now, RNC Communications Director Sean Spicer. Do you think everybody got that, Sean? That was pretty complicated. How are you doing?
I think you did a really good job, Martha. I'm doing well. You did a great job. See how easy it is?
I mean, what we're learning here is that it's state by state, right? We always knew this, but, we've covered lots of elections, right. And you stand there on the floor and you watch each state stand up and say, Florida cast this many delegates for the, this senator or that governor or whoever it is. But this thing, it does raise a lot of questions about how this process happens, and Trump blames you guys.
Well, a couple things that I would say. One is, whether you're talking about politics or business, when you go from state to state, there are different processes in each state. It doesn't matter whether you're talking politics or business, and that's what we as a Republican Party believe in. We're a states' rights party. Mm-hmm. We believe that states have a right to decide what's in the best interest of their voters, and then they submit that process to us. They all did that by October 1 of last year. We made those state filings available to every candidate, campaign, member of the media. Everyone knew what each state was going to do. So it's not rigged. It may be complicated. I'll give folks that, but it's not rigged. You just have to understand that each state's different, understand the process that happens, and it's existed for a century. So campaigns have to spend some time understanding it. There's no question about it. It's not easy. I'll give them that, but it's not rigged for anyone. In fact, if you look at who's standing, the top two candidates, Mr. Trump and Senator Cruz, I would hardly call either one of those guys, the quote-unquote establishment or insiders. They're both individuals that pride themselves on being from outside the system. Yep. So if anything, the system's benefited the folks on the outside. One last thing, Gretchen. I mean, if you look at where things stand right now, Martha, you've got Mr. Trump's won 37% of the vote, and he's got 45% of the delegates. So, in fact, to some degree, the system's benefited him.
Definitely. No, he has benefited from it. But it's clear that, he and his people are just figuring out some of this, because are new to this whole thing. And he wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, and it's quite interesting. And here's some of it. He says, "Let me ask America a question. How has the system, in quotes, been working out for you and your family? No one forced anyone to cancel the vote in Colorado," he says. "Political insiders made a choice to cancel it, and it was the wrong choice." So he's obviously taking issue with what happened in Colorado when they decided to do this the way they did it. But the biggest problem in my mind, Sean, is that it's after the fact. I mean, it's too late to rewrite the rules for any of these states, but I think it is worth revisiting the next time around, because I think people have woken up to the way this works.
Sure. And every 4 years, each state does look at their rules and their process and resubmits a new plan. And in Colorado is no different than any other state. Kentucky last cycle had a primary. This time they had a caucus. So those states and processes are evaluated. But look, when you may have a problem with Colorado or another state, but in the case of winner-take-all states, Mr. Trump, in the clip that you played, won Florida. He won, it was a winner-take-all state. So he got the most votes, and he got all 99 delegates. Some would argue that that's not fair, because some of the delegates some of the other individuals that did well in that state get no delegates. That doesn't, really seem representative of the voters' intent. And so I get it. Different states have different systems, but you can't after the fact say, well, I don't like this state, but I like this state. It's the way it's worked forever. So this system that's not rigged, that's just maybe a little bit complicated, has given us Abraham Lincoln, Dwight Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan. I'd say that the system works pretty well. Of course it needs to be reevaluated from time to time, but we released a memo that came out today where we lay out in a little bit more detail, and I think we have a job to do at the RNC to make sure people understand a little bit more. And you can go online and get a copy of this. It's on our Twitter feed. Yep. It's on our website. And I understand it, that people haven't dealt in 40 years. And so a lot of it, while the process hasn't changed, it may be new to people to understand for the first time.
Well,
so we need to do a better
states,
job of educating people.
There's so many states that have never really been part of the process, because by the time they got around to them, like New York and New Jersey, for example, and Pennsylvania, the whole thing was pretty much decided. So most people didn't even pay attention to that part of the primary process. So
that's right.
If there's anything that's really good that comes out of this, it's that people are looking at how this whole thing works, and they know that they do have a say down the road in how it all works. And I think that's it's a good thing. It's a positive thing. Sean, thank you.
Martha, and the point that you're making is absolutely right. More people are going to vote this time than ever before, and that's actually a really good thing for the process.
Sean Spicer, always good to see you, sir. Thanks a lot.